Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSP Magazine. You're listening to a new The Hacker Factory podcast with hacker maker Phillip Wylie. You're about to discover what the role of a professional hacker entails, the different specializations it holds, and what it takes to learn and become one. Enjoy the conversation as Phillip and guests unveil the secrets of professional hacking, a mysterious, intriguing, and often misunderstood occupation. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hacker Factory podcast. I'm your host, Phillip Wylie. And this episode, I'm really happy to have my friend Saman Fatima joining. We've known each other through the cybersecurity community for a while, and I'm familiar with some of her friends and members of BBWIC, which is a great organization helping women in technology and cybersecurity. Great organization, great people, and it's an honor to have you on the show today.
Hi, Philip, and hi, everyone. It's an honor for me to be part of the show, and I know it's been really long that we have been discussing that. Back in India, we had a conversation. We started connecting through the cybersecurity community, and I really owe that conversation and everything that had come so long. That right now I'm here in America, and connecting with you. But it's really great to be part of the show and actually talk about things. That we go on forward with the flow with the show. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining. Why don't you tell our audience about yourself? Kind of introduce yourself, what you're currently doing, and kind of your background, kind of how you got to this point in your career.
For sure. So it's like a good ride in cybersecurity. So I did my undergrad back in 2017 in my home country, that's India. I did my bachelor's in information technology, and with the last semester of my course, there were a couple of cybersecurity subjects here and there into the semester, and that really grew my interest. And that just left me thinking, okay, it's just not the security guards that we have. There's more to it. Like if you wanted to, if you're actually talking about the digital data as well. So that just created an interest there. And with my first job in 2017, I started up with identity and access management, and there I was exposed to a lot of things regarding to identities and what all access they have, and what level of access they should have and what they shouldn't have, so as to maintain the architecture of the organization. So that was really an eye-opener for me to understand that. And spending 5 years into identity and access management, working with two of the employers, one tech company and other an investment bank. So two different sides of it, but doing the same work and understanding the processes and workflows as well, and somehow managing that with one of the domains of the field. And then I eventually had this thing of doing my master's in cybersecurity. But yeah, it was just, couldn't come out of the comfort zone much. I was really, really settled with my job and really happy with that, earning money, spending it. So that was the good part. But it's just last fall, I came to Atlanta. I'm pursuing my master's in information system, majoring in cybersecurity. And yes, I will be graduating in July, like in next 2 months. So I'm really excited about it that I actually took that step and did my master's. And as of now, I am working with Georgia's Department of Community Health as a summer intern, and I'm basically working towards the cloud part. There's more to it to come eventually in the coming months, but that is something I'm just exploring from identity and access management, how I can be more working towards cloud security and everything. So that's about me, that how I took that step, uh, pursuing my master's, and then yes, interning with the state government. So that's really exciting and fun about. Yeah, thank you.
Very good. And so I guess summer camp will be your way to celebrate your graduation.
Yes, totally. Like I'm really looking forward to it. there was a time that it felt like that I came here, started up with my studies after a gap of 5 years, and now I'm almost done. It's just one semester left, and it just time flies, and you're done with your masters. So that's something really to remember about.
So why don't you kind of explain about identity and access management? I know that's one of those roles that's really kind of, really evolved over the years, but it's really one area that people really don't know about when they're trying to get into cybersecurity. So why don't you kind of explain that for us?
Okay. Um, with identity and access management, it seems really simple. It seems like it's just like a click away job and you're done. But when I just give an example about, for example, when you are in your organization or maybe in your university, there are certain areas, like certain physical areas, where you are not allowed to enter. You do not have access to it. One such example would be the data center. Not everyone has access to actually get inside that door, to actually visualize the data center and everything. So same does work for identities as well. And right now in the market, we have a lot of identity providers that actually work up to, have that authoritative source, keep your identities, and manage those accesses with certain level of functionalities. Every identity provider has it. So with that being said, if I should have a read, write, execute level access, so I should be granted those accesses, and preferably somebody in my team who does not need some access, like they should only view that particular content. They should be just having those level of accesses. So identity and access management is really really a core part, where if you have certain wrong level of accesses, you may have access to a lot of red data of the organization, and that's something not at all advisable. So that's why there comes a picture of grants and revokes of access. There comes like you should have like semi-annually or annually or quarterly, depending on your organization, how you wanted to review the employees of your organization and what level of permissions they have. If there are conditions where one person has moved from one department to another department, but still the deprovisioning hasn't been done from the older department. So that's one big thing where a lot of the data is being held by somebody that they shouldn't have access to. So these are certain cases which looks like simple, but actually there goes a lot of things when we actually use the identity providers and see if the access levels are good to everyone in the team and in the organization. So that's pretty much about identity and access management in a nutshell, what I've worked through for the past 5 years. And yeah, that just created a platform for me to know more about, okay, the access level could be different, has to be different, and has to be monitored periodically.
And it's kind of interesting. You mentioned earlier too about access to data centers and stuff. It's kind of interesting how it's kind of evolved to where at one time, it was like someone totally separate that set up the access to,
Mhm.
different rooms in a building or access to different buildings. That used to be like a totally separate group. And it's really kind of smart that it's evolved to where
Yeah.
it's taken care of in one place. And
Yeah.
kind of interesting, the connection to HR too, the connection to HR.
Because eventually when you join an organization, or you are a student at a university or anything, or maybe you're just a visitor to a building, there has to be a different level of accesses so that you're able to differentiate an administrator from a visitor. So that's really important to draw that line. And with data getting so easily accessible by a lot of people, it has to be logged at certain levels so that not everyone could see it, or make that contact with the data so that it can be easily breached. So that's one good thing that I picked up from this particular domain, and that just is creating a platform for me for other domains as well once I pivot.
Yeah, very very interesting. It's like I said, it's just still amazing to see how that is has evolved, and it's really kind of cool the way it's integrated with HR because before it was up to management to let people know that someone left the company, and then they would have to open up a ticket. And now it's kind of interesting how some of the IAM systems will, if someone is fired or whatever, or they leave the company, then how it disables before. You can just imagine how many accounts were left active that shouldn't be active because that didn't get taken care of.
Yep, that's one funny part of this domain is there are a lot of organization who still have to have those processes been set up for deprovisioning, because that's really really important for you to uh, terminate all of the access for a user who is no longer with your organization. They should not have access to data that they used to have it, because a lot of the cases happens because of these things. And one of them I would like to quote here is insider attacks is more of because of that reason, because when one particular individual has more level of access, they could actually release or breach that data at any platform. So that's really important for you to quarterly see or periodically see those access and review them, that everyone has a certain level of access that they require it for their jobs.
So how has that changed with, because before, everyone was on prem and now you have the cloud too. You have people environments that are all cloud and then hybrid. How does that affect IAM?
It has really affected IAM, because with every cybersecurity year, attacks and everything, and the cyber criminals have become really smart with all the updates, upgrades and patches you come up with on different of your technologies. But more of like organizations, with my time when I was working during COVID, and it was hybrid working, when I was working from home as well, and maybe working from some other place apart from my home, also from office. So it's more of connecting to the VPN, and that just creates a safe net for the organization, that all of that activity is getting monitored in that particular network, and that could be traced back. But there are certain organizations where VPN and all are also not utilized, and a lot of the data goes down as well in that ways. So there are few things which you cannot get over with, like I talked about insider attacks and everything, that certain calculated risks are there. But yeah, maintaining that, reviewing and everything is really important for all of the employees to hold up to that. But yeah, a lot of the data is moving from on-prem to cloud, and with different cloud platforms they have zillion levels of services as well that they provide for monitoring or for holding up the data, or how you actually audit the data. So I would say security has increased, but yeah, with that, cyber criminals have also become stronger and smarter, and they just come out with more of dead ends, and there you actually see, okay, that's also been cracked. So I would just say they're directly proportional to each other. With every day, we have newer technologies, tighter systems, and then there are cyber criminals who are more stronger and more smarter. And then we're just fighting amongst each other how we're actually saving up our data. So I would say like VPNs really work up there, and a lot of other processes and everything that organizations have regarding to policies and devices and approvals and everything, how things go forward with it. Change management comes into picture with all these things. So yeah, a lot of the things in collection really is helping with a lot of organization, but a lot of the organizations have to match up as well.
Yeah, and also kind of just thinking along the lines of cloud too is people can have, not all companies use one cloud provider. They may use AWS, Azure, and GCP.
Yep, yep. There, because there are few services which they feel comfortable with Amazon, but there are certain level other features which they feel comfortable with Azure. And it's just not the features part, it's more of how aware and comfortable the employees are, or how cheaper it is for them to actually manage both of the platforms or one of them, or probably losing few and customizing it one of them. So it's just a mixture of a lot of things.
So do the IAM platforms kind of make that more seamless? So whenever you're going into like one administrative center, are you able to handle all the tasks within that one place, or do you have to manage it throughout the different cloud platforms?
Um, I would say if there are multiple platforms being employed, like my organization also has it. So with that, you have to see both of the ends, that everything is properly managed or not. And yeah, that's the scene, because every platform will have its own level of functionalities, and they would operate in a different way and provide the results in a different way as well. So that goes both the ends, because every platform has its own specific functionalities regarding everything. So it may be necessary that you use IAM with one of the platform, but other services through other platforms. So it's just how organizations are comfortable with, basis on the business requirements and the other things that the organization has to deal up with, like finances, or how comfortable is the employee with the platform and stuff like that.
Very cool. So, how would someone prepare for a career in IAM?
Okay. So I started off fresh back in 2017. I did my undergrad in 2017 May, and I started up in July. So it just happened to be that I had certain level of basic understanding of cybersecurity, and that's how I worked up best during my interview. So there were a couple of basic questions, because I read those subjects in my graduate program. So it was more okay for me to answer about them. So that's something like really good for me. So there were subjects like we had subjects related to database. So database management system is really good for you to know about, how to extract data and everything, and that's like the soul of identity and access management, that if you want to get hold of archived data, or if you want to get hold of the servers and everything, you have to do health check or monitoring. So you need to understand how to use like query languages as well. Any of them would work, whichever at your college level you have done. Apart from that, I had cryptography, like basics of that as well, and then basics of like security laws, policies, and everything that we have in different countries. And yes, apart from that, there were bits and pieces of uh, things related to the identity and how they are safeguarded, physical data centers, and all of that. And at my time, there was no such thing of like cloud, and there was no such fashion of people moving from on prem to cloud. So I would not say I was aware of all those things. But eventually, when I started working, I was part of that, migration of moving from on prem to cloud, and how does things happen there. So that's one thing. So understanding the basics of it would really serve the job. But if you're really wanting to get into identity and access management and how things actually work for, I would really recommend going through the job description. There could be a lot of things that you would know, like basics of database or basics of security. And if you know any identity provider, any specific that you have worked on, it would be a best case scenario, because the functionality remains to be the same on all of the platform. It's just the UI that changes, and there are a couple of functionalities that are different on different platforms. So one of the identity providers, if you know it, it's a good case scenario. You can still relate to a lot of things, and obviously understand the tool if it's different wherever you're applying. So basics would really help here. If you have experience, then I would not talk much more about it, because you would know more about identity and access management.
Very interesting. So, one of the things that I wanted to discuss here too is BBWIC, the organization that you're a part of. If you wouldn't mind, kind of discussing your organization.
Why not? Like I'd be really glad to talk about it. So I am part of BBWIC Foundation as the global lead. So BBWIC stands for Breaking Barriers Women in Cybersecurity. It's a non-profit organization registered under Canada NFP Act, and it's been a non-profit organization since October 2021. So it's been a while now that we've been working with it. Astha Sahani, she's the founder and board chair, and she started up with it. And that is something that we visualize about BBWIC, that we need to empower women as leaders by helping them, by pushing them, by making them more powerful so that they can thrive together into the cybersecurity field. So, as part of the community, we do a lot of work. We have a lot of board verticals as well, from community and development to training, and then to, how do we collaborate with other organizations. We've had Philip as well do a session about pen testing, and that was really great, where people came and knew about a lot about pen testing and how it could turn into a career for a lot of people. So that's something we really believe into, that women could learn a lot and then probably implement it, be part of conferences as speakers, as volunteers, or maybe just as an attendee, so that that just gives you a push to learn more and be part of this larger field. So I'd be glad if all of you would join BBWIC clan, and we'd be glad to have you and be part of the circle, know more about what are our future events, how we can help you with things, make you connect with people. And obviously we're here together to actually sustain and grow. So thank you. I'd really glad to have a lot of women joining BBWIC.
Yeah, it's great what you're doing, and a great group of people. So I'm very happy to see what you all are doing. It's definitely needed. One of the things I can see from it, you offer the education opportunities, the networking, but a lot of times, and this is one of my big things, is encouraging people. So whenever you need to help encourage other people, that goes a long way. You're able to prove to them that they can do it. They've got someone they can relate to, that they can speak with. And you mentioned the networking piece. That's one of the best things that someone can do for their career, is networking. You get that network when it comes time to get a job. It's a lot easier than just trying to do it on your own.
Yeah. And we also have a lot of members who are students like me, or maybe like transitioned from a non cyber field to a cyber field now, or they're just starting up with cybersecurity. And the last category is more of the C level people. So we have a mixture of all of the members, and demographically, we're placed in different countries as well. So there are people from India. From America, even there are few members from South America, few members from Canada as well, UK as well. So that just creates diversity there as well, and people are connecting with each other, having study group sessions with each other at their own pace, and then celebrating those successes together. So we're really proud of that we have such a number, and we're just growing month by month, and having a lot of folks learning about it, and that's just really means a lot to us, that we're helping the group grow more together.
Very nice. One of the things for the listeners, we'll have the information, as well as Saman's social information. Will also include information on BBWIC, so you'll know where to connect to join this amazing organization.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And so, also too, really want to touch on something as well. Is you've got a new podcast. Would you mind sharing about your new podcast and tell us the name of your podcast?
Yeah, for sure. So by now everyone would have realized that I am actually a master's student, at least till July. And with that being said, when I came here last year, I did search up for a lot of resources and everything. There I got a lot of them, but still something was missing in the puzzle. That something really was, I came here and I thought I would start. So ITSP magazine is the platform that I am hosting one of the podcasts that called Off the Record with Saman. And I'm really thankful to Sean and Marco. They had given me this platform to actually host my show. And with that being said, I have this desire to have a lot of students as well as professors, and especially students who are studying away from their home countries, maybe in different parts of the world. And I just wanted to get them here online, virtually, or maybe eventually once we grow, it could be more of in person podcasts as well. But for now, it's like 2 episodes down. I have two students, one from India. She came here and did her master's from Carnegie Mellon, and that's her entire journey, covering how she came here and now she's with Salesforce, and how things are going on for her with visa and everything. So that's something can help a lot of people to know about the college, the university, how things actually happen there, and that could be a great help, and that person could become the point of contact. The second episode was more of with uh, a graduate student from University of Cincinnati. She is graduated now, and she's from Ghana, and now she's starting to work with her new job. So that's something like really touched my heart, that a lot of people should know about what are the struggles, and just not about the struggles also, but probably learn from what others have done and how they have corrected it, and how was their experience, could really help others sitting right across the laptop, and listening to that podcast, and can work for themselves as well if they wanted to go that route. So that was the major intent of starting that podcast. And I would be really glad if all of you could just go ahead to ITSP magazine and hear the 2 episodes, and there will be more episodes coming every month. So I am wanting to have like different international students from different parts of the world to come up and talk about how they have decided to take that step, and how are things for them going, and the job market and everything inclusive of that particular conversation. So that's pretty much it about the podcast, and what was the intent of starting it.
Yeah, and we'll also have in the show notes the link to the podcast page so you can easily find that and subscribe to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Philip, for that.
You're welcome. So we're getting down towards the end of the show. Is there anything you'd like to share before we close out this episode?
This is something that I've been sharing it at a lot of platforms, that I I was just at a very uncomfortable space of not taking that step of coming out of my home country and pursuing my masters. I just thought that it's just a very big leap for me. I'll not be able to do it, and I just wanted to say that I took that step. It was really, really challenging at the very beginning, and it is right now as well with the job market and everything. But I would really wanted to say, and that's like a personal advice coming from my end, is that I would really want you to take that step, because you never know. Life really happens, and it did happen for me as well. I never imagined myself pursuing my masters from United States of America, and that just happened for me, and now I'm working here as an intern. So I just would code it up as that: never settle for less. Just always keep pushing yourself for all those things that you desire, and things would happen. There would be a lot of roadblockers, but yeah, that's something makes you a strong person. And I believe that once you see the bad times, the good times are really near as well. So yeah, that's just a push to everyone hearing me right now. If you're just being skeptical about taking any moves, please go ahead, take it. It may be a good move for you, or else you learn from it and probably be a better person as well on those decisions. So that's something really personal from my end.
Oh, that's great advice, and thanks for sharing your story. Because the nice thing about when we share our stories, it helps encourage someone else. So
I
someone
hope
seeing
so. Yeah, I hope so. Somebody gets encouraged and probably takes that step, because I took that step, and I understand moving out from your home country, or maybe moving out from your family's house and going to a different state, or probably a different city, uh, would be challenging. You are on your own, but yes, you will really enjoy that independence, and the hardships would really come to an end one day. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me. It was an honor to have you on this episode.
Thank you so much, Philip, and thank you everyone for listening.
Good, thanks everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Hacker Factory podcast with Phillip Wylie. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share itspmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.